Story name is Thirsty Crow. One summer morning, a crow named Kala was soaring high above a vast, arid land. He had been flying for hours, his wings growing heavier with each flap, and his throat parched from the relentless heat of the sun. The once vibrant forests and bubbling streams were now nothing more than a distant memory. Everywhere he looked, the earth was cracked and dry, and not a drop of water was in sight. As he flew over the empty fields, Kala felt his energy draining away. If I don't find water soon, I might not survive, he thought to himself. Determined not to give up, he continued his search, scanning every nook and cranny below. Just when he was about to lose hope, Kala spotted something unusual glinting in the distance. He squinted, hoping it wasn't a mirage. He flapped his wings harder, and as he drew closer, he realized it was a small clay pot sitting under the shade of a large tree. Could it possibly contain water? Kala's heart fluttered with excitement as he dived down and landed beside the pot. He peeked inside and his heart sank. There was water, but only a tiny amount at the bottom. It was so low that even with his long beak, he couldn't reach it. What should I do now? Kala muttered to himself, pacing around the pot in frustration. After all this effort, am I to remain thirsty? He peered into the pot once more. The water shimmered tantalizingly, mocking his inability to reach it. He tried tilting the pot, but it was far too heavy for his small frame. He even attempted sticking his beak and wings inside, but no matter how hard he stretched, he couldn't reach the water. Kala was on the verge of giving up when a tiny idea flickered in his mind like a spark of light. He glanced around and noticed a pile of small pebbles scattered nearby. The idea grew stronger, and his eyes widened with realization. What if I use these stones? He wondered. Without wasting another moment, Kala picked up a small pebble in his beak and dropped it into the pot. Plink! The stone hit the bottom, making a soft sound, and he watched the water level rise ever so slightly. Encouraged, Kala picked up another pebble, then another, and dropped them one by one. Plink, plink, plink. The water inched higher with each stone he added. Kala's heart filled with hope. It wasn't easy work. After a few rounds of flying back and forth, his wings ached and he had to rest. But he knew he was onto something. He wasn't going to quit now. As he continued, other animals passing by noticed Kala's determined efforts. A squirrel, perched high on a branch, curiously asked, "Why are you working so hard, little crow?" Kala paused, panting, but answered resolutely, "I need water, and if I don't find a way to reach it, I won't survive. This is my only chance." A hare, watching from behind a bush, chimed in, "But why go through all this trouble? There must be an easier way." But Kala shook his head. Sometimes the simplest solutions are not the ones that work. If I can't reach the water easily, I'll make the water reach me. Impressed by Kala's persistence, the other animals fell silent. They watched, spellbound, as he continued dropping pebble after pebble into the pot. The sun was high in the sky, and the day wore on, but Kala never gave up. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, Kala dropped in the last pebble. He peered inside the pot and saw that the water had risen to the very brim. Joy and relief washed over him. He plunged his beak into the cool, refreshing water and drank deeply. The sensation was blissful. Each sip felt like a reward for his hard work. As he drank, the other animals gathered around the pot, marveling at what Kala had achieved. "You did it!" cried the squirrel, her eyes wide with admiration. "You brought the water up, all by yourself." Kala wiped his beak and nodded proudly. "Yes, I did. I may be small, and the challenge was great, but I didn't give up. With patience and determination, even the smallest creature can overcome the biggest obstacles." The hare stepped forward, ears twitching thoughtfully. "You've taught us all a valuable lesson today, Kala," he admitted. "Sometimes all it takes is perseverance and a little creativity to solve a problem." Word of Kala's feat spread far and wide, and the animals of the forest began to look up to the little crow. They learned that in the face of adversity, cleverness and grit could turn an impossible situation into a victory. From that day on, whenever anyone faced a difficult challenge, they would remember the story of the thirsty crow, who, with a tiny pebble and a big heart, managed to achieve the impossible. Moral of the story is determination and resourcefulness can help solve the most difficult problems. Even when faced with seemingly insurmountable obstacles, patience and perseverance will lead to success.